Okay, let's go. That's 2 matches in a row now that you feel that Calcutta just forgot that they had to win, right? They just kind of forgot. Somewhere, like with 3 overs to spare, they said, have we won already? What are we doing here? Who am I? Where am I? Something like this happened. There's some memory loss, something inexplicable, but something that we will try to make sense of here, if we can. You're watching Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle. I'm Gaurav Kapur. With me, Michael Vaughan and Joy Bhattacharjya, who will use choice scientific terms or cricket terms to explain to our viewers what they've seen over the last 20 minutes.
Well, I'm going to start, and I just
You
want
have
to
to,
tell
because
you
Michael's too busy laughing. So you have to start.
So wait, with 15.5 overs bowled, they are 123 for 1 with 13 runs to get to it. 13 runs to get to it, gentlemen.
13 runs, 25 balls.
Yeah. And from there on, they go to 125 for 3, 126 for 4, 129 for 5, 130 for 6, 130 for 7. Reach the last over with 6 to get in 2 balls before Rahul Tripathi hits a 6 and rescues them. It is the most incredible. They nearly snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. But then finally...
I've heard that term so much while growing up. Never would have that held true more than this evening, Michael.
Well, it's the IPL. I keep telling you, it's always a nipper. It's never plain sailing. Jimmy Anderson sent me a message about 5 minutes ago saying, do you want to play golf in the morning? And I went, no, I can't. Sorry, I've got to have a PCR test. Are you watching this IPL game? He responded, no, I turned it off. It was an easy win for KKR. When you better just check. You better just check to see what happened. Oh, it was carnage, chaos, pressure. That's all that is, pressure. And isn't it remarkable that, I think it was quite an obvious, bat second wicket in the end because of the dew. But when you got 1 wicket, all of a sudden that pitch, it was almost as if they didn't just get a wicket. Yep. They started to tamper with the pitch. The ball was rolling on the floor. It was grabbing in the surface more. Brilliant pressure. You would argue that also that the fielding wasn't quite up to scratch. There's a couple that went through the hand, so they've only got themselves to blame at the end. But what drama!
Yeah, I mean, it's absurd. If you see the fall of wickets, Joy is absolutely right. They were 96 for 1. They were 123 for 1 in a 136 chase. They were 123 for 1. That's when the second wicket falls. And I don't blame Jimmy Anderson. I tuned into this system, the broadcast system, half an hour ago, thinking, "Oh, it's done. Yeah, we're going to start soon." And then you're just going to.
But it's like, can I just read you the scorecard? It makes me chuckle. Shubman Gill 46, Iyer 55, Nitish Rana 13, Tripathi 12 not out, Kartik 0, Morgan 0. Shakib, 0. Narayan, 0. Lockie Ferguson, 0 not out. Have you ever seen noughts get on the scorecard before like that?
Hey, listen, that is more ducks than a busy Chinese restaurant does on a Saturday evening.
But I'll tell you one thing. It's also the youth, basically the young KKR brigade rescuing the experienced guys, because who's messed it up? Just look at the guys who messed it up. The guys who messed it up are basically all the top experienced batsmen. You basically Kartik, Morgan, Shakib, Narayan. They are the ones who gave away their wickets. Who's the guy who rescued them? Finally, it was a Rahul Tripathi, non-India player. They're the guys who did it. Shubman up front, Venkatesh Iyer up front, Nitish Rana. So really, that's what the story is. That every time Kolkata's old guard looks like, okay, we can't do it anymore, the young guard says, okay, step aside, let me do it for you. You guys really can't finish this off. Let me do this for you.
Well, now 2 games in a row, these guys in the previous game and in this game, they're like Chokiar, right? Not KKR, Chokiar, right? They're just choking both times. I tell you what, Chennai is looking at this and saying, no worries, man, we'll take them. Right? I mean, I don't know how much confidence. Listen, I mean, Michael, you look at a game and you go, oh, geez, we won it right at the end, and you take confidence. But when you lose, 5 wickets and 7 runs, and you barely make it by the skin of your teeth 2 games in a row with different degrees, I don't know how much confidence you carry as a team into the finals. Yes, you made it there, but in what mindset are you going there?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens in the final, but they've made it. Fundamentally, it's about winning, and they just managed to just do enough to get over the line. I think Chennai will be watching the game tonight thinking, look, if we can get 2 or 3 early wickets and kind of put pressure on that middle order, there's not many of them in great form. I mean, the captain himself, Morgan, he's not playing with any kind of clarity or kind of base to his batting that I've seen in the past. Shakib played understandably a shot tonight that you wouldn't always say that it's the kind of shot that you'd see him play, but it's pressure and it's desperation to get to a final. When you get so close and you think you're strolling it, and all of a sudden, that word choke, I would have put that as probably the greatest ever choke in my sporting life if they'd have lost that from the position that they found themselves in. It would have been the most incredible choke, but also an incredible comeback from Delhi, who just kept on showing belief and started to get that length right. The seamers in Rabada, Nokia, fantastic, just hitting heavy length and just saying to the batter, go and try and make a mistake. And that's exactly what they were doing. It's certainly a pitch that we criticise, but it's also a pitch that has brought great drama. It's not a great cricket pitch, but it's brought a great deal of drama over the last 2 games because it isn't a perfect surface. And on surfaces that aren't perfect, you generally get better games of cricket because the team that are chasing are never really over the line, as we saw on Monday and as we've seen again tonight.
Yeah, but I mean, in all honesty, this pitch has only given you excitement in the last 3 overs, right? So if, like Jimmy Anderson, you had switched the television off, like Jimmy Anderson, you would have missed all the excitement. Luckily, Jimmy Anderson had you to tell him that put the telly on. There's still a little left in this game. Otherwise, it got. But listen, that's the one aspect, of course, the choking aspect, because that's the freshest that happened right now, and it's just inexplicable. You just don't get what happened there. Let's talk about the stuff that Kolkata did do right, and boy, did they get it right. A 96-run opening partnership, Joy, with young Venkatesh Iyer, with young Shubman Gill of 74 balls. They did their bit. They had sealed the game. In 12 overs, they had sealed that game. It was done and dusted.
Absolutely, and they batted superbly. See, that's what I find totally inexplicable about this Kolkata side. The young people, the young guns, the inexperienced non-international players are playing with so much maturity. One of them is attacking, the other of them is seeing it through. Shubman Gill is a guy who's not taking the risks. Venkatesh Iyer is taking the risks. They're doing it beautifully. They're getting it absolutely right. They're doing exactly what their coach is telling them, and they're playing fearless cricket. I mean, I don't think many batsmen have run down the pitch at Rabada and hit him over long on for 6 the way Venkatesh Iyer has. And that takes some doing, He just is a class player, not just because of his talent, but because of the way he's chosen his opportunities. And I think that is what this Kolkata side is all about. Those young kids saying, you know what, you missed it again. Rahul Tripathi comes and says, I'm not going to let you lose. I'm going to sort this out for you.
Yeah, he's standing and watching march past to the other end. He's saying, what's going on, man? Nobody likes me. You don't want to hang out with me. Everyone's just going one by one. But yeah, these two, of course, are fantastic. But you mentioned, Joy, about Rabada getting hit for a 6. Wait a second. That's great. But this season, perhaps, not that much of an achievement because everybody's really had Rabada's number. It's been a really strange season for him. The most 6s conceded by any bowler has been by him. I think he's conceded 24 6s. But if you just look at the bowling analysis, there's 2 wickets from Nokia, 2 for Ashwin as well. He was bowling that last over. Got 2 wickets, was on a hat trick when Tripathi hit him for a 6. So, I mean, not just Tripathi hitting that shot, but the fact that he was so cool and so unfazed when everybody else was making such a fuss. I think more than the shot, Michael, we have to talk about his temperament on that delivery, all things considered, with the context of that particular moment.
Yeah, it was huge. Look, he got the job done, and that takes a great deal of clarity. When you've seen chaos for a few overs, and particularly in that last over with Shakib getting out, Narayan getting out, and it's down to you. It's just you that can only win the game for your team. Ashwin didn't quite get his ball right, but who can blame Ashwin in the last over? He did tremendously well, but it was a perfect kind of ball for him to strike. I thought he might have fired it into leg stump. and almost kind of force him into trying something tricky, but it was perfectly on a plate for him. KKR, I reckon, for 35 overs of that game were magnificent. Yeah. And that's what they have to look at. Those last 5 overs, I think they have to sit down and go, look, why are we panicking so much? What is it in our DNA in this team at the minute that, particularly as Joy mentions, it's a senior core that seems to be panicking. Maybe they want it too much. Maybe it's a bit of desperation. But for 35 overs, I don't think they could play any better. They played brilliant with the ball, tactically very astute. The opening partnership was so smart. We talk about the strikes into the stand, but the smartness to running between the wickets, just hitting the gaps, trying to activate every single delivery, which is what T20 is all about. It's just those last 5 overs that probably everyone's talking about because it was absolutely chaotic. They lost their minds, they lost the smartness, they started to panic. And that's something I think against a real quality side in Chennai, particularly at a different venue in Dubai. I'm not too sure whether they'll get over the line unless they kind of get a little bit more smart in that middle. It's going to be a big ask. I mean, they've won, and they've won 2 tight games, which also puts you in great stead in a final because you kind of get on a roll in cricket that you just know how to win. It doesn't matter what the situation is. You just have this feeling that you're going to win. The problem that Calcutta are also have in the back of their minds, if they're honest, is they also find a way to lose because they could easily have lost the last two games if just probably the fielding and just been a bit better from Delhi tonight and also from the RCB team on Monday.
We got to talk about just how much this team he's made it to the final, how much it's changed from the first installment that was played in India to the second installment that's played in the UAE. Joy, we know that Shah Rukh really likes the UAE. People in UAE love him, but it seems like his team likes the UAE even more than those 2 other things. 7-2 now in the UAE.
I also think that they love to play outside away from the pressures. You see, these are young kids, okay? And they're going to spend time just with other cricketers, they're quarantined, they're away in the middle of nowhere. They're spending time with friends. They spend a lot of time together. Kolkata was one of the teams that came in very early to the UAE. Kolkata and Mumbai came in very early. And they've just enjoyed each other. And because the core is young, I think that young core has really benefited from it. And people like David Hussey, and I have to say, David Hussey, that is very empowering to youngsters. You're not scared of going there and doing something because if you make a mistake, he's not going to come at you and say, why did you do that? He's given you your lead. And I think that empowerment has now what you're seeing is making Kolkata so good. Those young guys, see, I keep talking about this, that which team is playing to win and which team is trying not to lose. And even in that last over, I thought Ashwin bowled very well. But Ashwin was trying not to bowl a bad ball. He was not trying to win, if you know what I mean. And even in his first spell, he was defensive. Ashwin in his first spell was defensive. I am probably one of the greatest spinners on this planet right now, currently playing. I have the first few overs. I'm bowling the first few overs of a match in which this pitch is really not good for batsmen. Okay? He bowled defensively. I don't know why. I don't know what was in his head. I don't know what's happening. But that's what I'm trying to say. Ashwin didn't bowl in the first 6 overs. He bowled 2 overs in that spell, trying to get wickets. He bowled trying not to get hit. And that's something I have to tell you that, it tells you of where he's coming from as a player.
Yeah. Michael, you think?
Yeah, I think Joe's right. I guess in T20 cricket, there's always that thought in the back of your mind: if you toss it up, you get smacked over your head for 6. And particularly the initial stage of an over, I think bowlers try and get a couple under the belt, and then if they're going to gamble, they gamble towards the back end sometimes, or right in the middle if they've had a good start. So I can kind of understand it, but when you've only got 135 to play with, you needed wickets. And all right, the wickets came at the end, but it was a little bit too late for Delhi. They needed a breakthrough or 2 in that power play. Full credit to the opening partnership they played with, again, I've mentioned it, great clarity and skill and control. But Ashwin's had a funny IPL with the ball because he hasn't bowled a great deal. And there's a reason why you don't bowl. It's because the captain doesn't believe that you're bowling well enough, or the pitch isn't your style. But you would argue that Ashwin, when he's at his best, is a great bowler on any surface against any batter, right hand, left hand. So I wouldn't look at Ashwin and think, oh, I need the matchups. I need to wait for a left-hander to bowl. Or Ashwin, I just bowl him because he's that good. So there's maybe an indication that he's not been releasing out of hands as well as he would like. And maybe he's trying too much. I mean, to be fair, that last over when he bowled those balls that were coming from about a foot, he was getting as low as he possibly can and bowling like round arm slingers. They worked. They got a couple of wickets. But, for the whole of the tournament, if you actually look at Ashwin's performance as a bowler, it's not been quite what you would expect.
Was that the aftermath of the India-England Test series? Could that be psychological? Anyway, let's talk about Rishabh Pant and what he said at the toss after. Very emotional, obviously. He says that I don't have any words to express what happened, and we always try to play positive, etc. Which are these things that captain says, but which all captains say, obviously. But what was notable was that he was extremely emotional. It really meant a lot, of course, to this Delhi team to play another final and to play competitively, because you could argue that the last final they played against Mumbai, they were definitely not their competitive best. Also, for him, a full season as captain, so that means a lot. He also said that Calcutta bowled really well in the middle overs, that didn't let them rotate strike, and that definitely was. While Calcutta did bowl well, rotating. We always talk about it. Rotating strike and getting 6 singles in an over, which the bowlers are happy to give you. You really should kind of be getting those and not be making those mistakes. So I think that Delhi were perhaps a little bit off the boil today. Michael, if you had to retain 3 players from Delhi to go into the next year, who would those 3 be, and who would your captain be?
Well, I think Rishabh Pant will carry on. I don't see why you wouldn't carry on with someone that's got his team to the semi-final. Very close to making the final. So you'd want to build on that and give him another.
They had a captain last year who took them to the final. He's not captain this year. Just saying. I'm just countering your point.
But why was that captain replaced? Because they obviously felt Ricky Ponting probably feels that Rishabh Pant's got something in him that could be that captain for a few years. So I'd be surprised if that's not the case.
I'm not making a step. I'm just giving you the facts.
I think they're going to put. So Rishabh's definitely going to get retained. Don't worry about that. I think they're going to be one of the franchises. It's probably going to be the difficult decisions. I think they're going to have some real tough choices to make. You could argue 6 or 7 of them should be retained. How they get down to 3, good luck to Ricky Ponting and co, because there will be a few players that come available, which I'm pretty sure the franchises will be licking their lips. Because they've got I actually look on paper with the Delhi squad. I think pound for pound, they've probably got the best squad.
True.
In terms of everything that they've got in terms of pace, in terms of skill with the spin. I mean, Amit Mishra is a tremendous leg, but he's hardly played. So the depth is there. Their squad is strong. R. Ashwin, will he get retained? I doubt it. He'll probably be a big name that doesn't get retained. You'd think Shikhar Dhawan, with the season he's had, he's going to get retained again, you would think. Prithvi Shaw, again, a firecracker at the top of the order, you'd want to retain him. So some of those real key players, Tripathi, who's just whacked the 6, he's going to stay. Calcutta, I mean, you look at Calcutta as well. You look at their list and go, who's going to be retained? I think it's going to be. There's only a few. I mean, Punjab, it's quite easy who they retain, and the person that they desperately want to retain probably didn't want to stay with them.
Nope, he doesn't.
It's tricky.
Great. So I'll take you out of the spot and not put that question. It's a tough question. It's a tough question to answer. We've done that exercise a lot. It's a tough question to answer. But the truth is that it's going to be Calcutta playing the final with Chennai. And if you had asked anybody, I'm telling you, there's even some Calcutta squad members who probably would not have bet a pound on this happening, right? Not after the first leg, and diehard fans as well. People with affiliation, people who love the team. I love Shah Rukh. Everybody loves Shah Rukh Khan. I love Shah Rukh Khan. Love this team. It's great. Plays with great spirit. Some great friends have been with it. But even I didn't think that they would make it here. They have, and that deserves applause. That has just been a fantastic, one of the best turnarounds that you've seen with the team has definitely been this. That 6 months in the middle, It really, really helped them because it helped them regroup, and somehow all the youngsters just kind of downloaded the Baz McCullum software and said, "That's it. We're now 2.0 is us being completely fearless," and that was in the UAE, and they've done it. It's been amazing. It really truly has been. So that's the final now. That's on Friday. This is what it comes down to. Game number 60. It's Chennai, who's been waiting with their feet up in Dubai for the last 5 days, have finally had this. Everybody's been in this mad scrimmage, and Calcutta's come out of it, and they're going to be playing the final against them. That's a mouth-watering prospect, Joy.
It is, and I just love the fact that it's like a set of players whose careers are just starting. Even though Rahul Tripathi is 30 years old, but Rahul, Venkatesh, their place in the sun is just now. They've just got their place in the sun. Shubman Gill, Venkatesh Prasad, Shana, they're getting their place in the sun. And there's one man, MS Dhoni, standing out there, like ready to walk out in the sunset.
Who is the sun?
Yeah. And I've just, wait a minute, hold on. I'm not yet gone. I'm still here. So, I mean, it's just an incredible. This is the whole, I mean, I know Rituraj is there, who's a young gun for them, but this is a whole the ebullient youth of KKR versus this whole Chennai machine wants to win it one last time for probably the greatest captain in this tournament's history. So it's a mouth-watering prospect just in the different philosophies. One team is young, fearless, brash, came from nowhere, no pedigree. The big runs are all from young players who are not even playing for the national team, but they fought, scrapped, and got their way into the final after being almost last in the first phase. And the other is what we call tournament royalty. 8 finals, we reach 8 finals, non-finals, 3 times we've won it. We are royalty. I mean, the whole idea is that, okay, you first write down Chennai's name, and then you should decide, which other name you write for the final. So it's a mouth-watering clash.
They're like Uday Chopra and the Dhoom franchise. He's got to be there, right? He's got to be there. But if you look at this team now, I think there's only one question for the Knight Riders, Michael. If Russell is fit, do you play him? And if you play him, who do you play him for?
Well, they're going to have to make a call on the pitch because obviously when you play your games in Sharjah, they got used to the pitch, they knew the conditions, and they just stuck with a team. Dubai might be a different proposition. It might be a different surface. It might be that if Andrew Russell can bowl, 4 overs, they may turn to change of Shakib. They may think that the left-arm spinner is not going to be option. I mean, again, we'll talk about Owen Morgan.
Come on, Michael. He may not be. All right, so I agree with you. He may not be able to, buy a run for love of money right now. But you can't drop the captain in a final, right?
No, and I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't. But do not be surprised because I just know the character that he is. He will do what he feels is best for the team. But
that's not best for the team.
I wouldn't.
Him, the captain, not being there.
Well, I think he's a massive player. I think he probably adds 25 runs of value with his tactics and maybe more with his man management of those younger players that we talk about. So I would certainly play him, but don't rule it out with Owen Morgan because he's that kind of personality. I wouldn't be surprised if they play the same team as well. They've just won plenty on the trot. They're playing a brand of cricket that's putting the opponents under pressure. They're flapping a bit at the end, but they are getting over the line. So they're obviously made of something in that team to get over the line in tight games. Again, Chennai, we're going to talk about them. They won't change, will they? So KKR may not change. It's like, right, let's just play the final.
Making me nervous with all this. Morgan may drop himself talk. Don't do that. Don't play with our emotions, Michael. I think the team's played with our emotions enough today.
He might.
I think we've all had enough emotional upheaval for a night, all right? Just take it easy, Michael. Just take it easy on our beating hearts. But there's another factor as well, Joy, that the Bangladesh national team may just call Shakib because he plays earlier, isn't he? So they may just call him into their bio bubble.
They might call him into the bio bubble. I don't think they will, though.
When is his first game, though? No. Let's check.
17th. 17th.
Okay, his first game is... Oh, so his first game 17th. Does he play a final on the 15th then? And it's in Oman, by the way. Oh.
Yeah, look.
Oman. Oh, man. His game's in Oman.
Look, I think there'll be intense negotiation tonight. There'll be intense negotiations tonight. But remember one thing: if you look at it, Shakib, a lot of people in Bangladesh are following this tournament because of Shakib and how far he's taken them, and the fact that if Shakib's in a final, Kolkata doesn't lose. He's been in the finals; they've won twice. So it's a tough call to do, to turn around and say that on your first match we're going to get you out of there. So I don't know how this is going to play. My sense is I think they'll find a way for him to play both matches.
Did Sunil Narayan play those two finals as well? He played those two finals, didn't he? So are Narayan and Shakib the only two who played those two finals, who are still with the team?
Yeah, still with the team. Yeah, they're the only two.
There's no Russell then.
He'll play. It's the IPL. It's bigger than international cricket.
Oh, Michael dropping the headline bombs. I'm waiting to open the newspapers tomorrow morning in India digitally, because I don't get those anymore. The Chennai team, there's going to be no changes. Let's move on. Don't even show it. No, it's fine. It's done. Yeah, they're not gonna.
If they haven't bowled Imran Tahir yet.
Yeah, they don't lose and make changes. You think they're going to win and make changes? I really doubt it. Unless somebody's had. Oh, by the way, we were having a chat the other day, and Virender Sehwag and Ashish Nehra were talking about this. They said unless somebody gets injured over the next 5 days, sitting on a sofa at the breakfast buffet. They spoke about a time when someone had a suitcase fall on their toe. Michael, do you have any other bizarre stories of any bizarre injury like this, non-cricket related?
Yeah. Ashley Giles once, I had to announce the team in the Caribbean for a one-day game, and Ian Botham was doing the television. And the day before, Ian Botham had been driving the speedboat with Ashley Giles on the rubber rings behind. And as he does, Ian Botham was going rather fast and turning rather sharply. Ashley Giles flew off this rubber ring and ripped his groin. And I had to the next day say, and it was, by the way, it was a dry wicket. It was in St. Lucia. And Ian Botham said, on your team? I said, we've gone for a tactical manoeuvre. We don't think it's going to spin a great deal. And Beefy went, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I can rip it. So he backed us up.
What you should have said is that, Beefy, because you did not make a tactical maneuver in that speedboat, we've had to make a tactical maneuver. That's hilarious. Yeah, so unless one of those things has happened, I think Chennai is probably going to play the same team day after tomorrow. Super exciting. Listen, juicy prospect of this final. Everyone is expecting team 1 and 2 to kind of play it the way they were bossing this tournament. But, well, the Knight Riders purely deserve this spot on the basis of their youth and the way they have performed. And the way they've been marshaled, the belief that they've had, they have really punched their way into this final. There's no other way of saying it. They've punched their way into this final. Remember, 1 week ago, it wasn't sure whether they would qualify or not. And now they're right here. They've kind of punched their way into this. So that's great. Kudos to them. And of course, Chennai, the royalty that's sitting over there. We were talking about the sun. He's the sun in two ways. One, he's the sun, the sunshine. And second, he's the prodigal son. So does the prodigal son return to the final and win it? Remember that he has lost a final 2 years ago, won this trophy 3 years ago. Can he do it this year? And if he does, will he walk into the sunset with it? Okay, we'll talk about this, of course, day after tomorrow. Right now, we have a bit of business, which is the Joy Factor question, winner and answer before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Okay, which cricketer's list of ODI victims is Cook, is better, De Kock and McCullum? And the answer is Virat Kohli.
Nice.
There was a time when Virat Kohli used to bowl on a regular basis. Of course, after that is not the greatest action on the planet, but he used to take wickets, and he's taken 4 wickets. Of course, he has one of the worst averages in international cricket as a bowler. But, if you bat the way you do, you still get selected.
Also one of the worst actions, which he says himself. It's one of the worst actions.
It's not an action you tell your kids, bowl like him.
Can I tell you that I was right? I'll explain to you how. I said it was Michael Vaughan. So it is another captain. And it is a captain, Michael, wait for this. It is a captain who I last hung out with properly at dinner with him in your favorite town, Bristol. I kid you not. I kid you not. Yes. That was the last time I had dinner with him was in Bristol, your favorite place. And we should have invited you because you would have loved to come, right?
I'd love to, yeah. It'd have been the best thing about Bristol.
Yeah, probably would have been able to take away some of those traumatic memories for you and create some nice, fresh traumatic memories for you. But anyway, I'm sure we'll be able to do that real soon because quarantine is over in the UK. I just want to, before we go, I just want to say it doesn't matter who's playing the final. It doesn't matter who's won, who's lost, because what matters here is our guessing game. And it matters even more today because I've won. I said 50 was my guess, right, for the power play. Right? It was 51 gentlemen. I don't know if you noticed it and are purposely trying to avoid giving me the credit, but a little applause would not hurt. Everybody likes a little validation now and then. Everybody likes a little validation.
You're an insecure anchor, man.
I'm an insecure human being. We all need validation, Joy. We all do. Well, no validation required for this brainiac who won the Joy Factor question, but we're still going to take your name. Manan Mehta, man to man. Well done, Cricket Nuffy. Another repeat winner. I know. It's another repeat winner here. Needs no validation at all, but well done. Eminem. It's Eminem. Well done, buddy. Good job. All right, who's going to be here on the final? Who's here on the final? Is Michael, are you going to be here with us? Are you here?
I'm not there. No, sorry. I'm going on holiday. I'm going to Barbados. Hopefully,
Nice. I would never want to stand in the way of that.
Yes.
So happy holidays. It's been great having you on Cricbuzz Live. Thank you so much for being here.
I'll be back for the World Cup.
Excellent. So it's not a long goodbye. We'll see you in a few days then. Right. It's not a long goodbye. Joy Bhattacharjya, thank you very much for being here with us as well. And of course, he's there on the match party. So big thank you to them. Big thank you to all of you. Thank you so much for watching. It really was absolutely fantastic today. Cricbuzz Plus, let's quickly tell you about that. Ad-free content, exclusive content. Do sign up for that and subscribe to that. And I'm Gaurav Kapur saying good night. And we're going to see you just before the final, 6:50 p.m. Indian Standard Time. We're going to be here in English and in Hindi. You are watching Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle. Thank you for watching. Gute Nacht.